"It is a very strange place," said Amberville, "but I scarcely know how to convey the impression it made upon me. It will all sound so simple and ordinary. There is nothing but a sedgy meadow, surrounded on three sides by slopes of yellow pine. A dreary little stream flows in from the open end to lose itself in a cul-de-sac of cattails and boggy ground. The stream, running slowly and more slowly, forms a stagnant pool of some extent from which several sickly-looking alders seem to fling themselves backwards, as if unwilling to approach it. A dead willow leans above the pool, tangling its wan, skeleton-like reflection with the green scum that mottles the water. There are no blackbirds, no kildees, no dragonflies even, such as one usually finds in a place of that sort. It is all silent and desolate. The spot is evil. It is unholy in a way that I simply can't describe. I was compelled to make a drawing of it, almost against my will, since anything so outre is hardly in my line. In fact, I made 2 drawings. I'll show them to you, if you like," said Amberville. Since I had a high opinion of Amberville's artistic abilities, and had long considered him one of the foremost landscape painters of his generation, I was naturally eager to see the drawings. He, however, did not even pause to await my avowal of interest, but began at once to open his portfolio. His facial expression, the very movements of his hands, were somewhat eloquent of a strange mixture of compulsion and repugnance. As he brought out and displayed the 2 watercolor sketches he had mentioned, I could not recognize the scene depicted from either of them. Plainly, it was one that I had missed in my desultory rambling about the foothill environs of the tiny hamlet of Bowman, where, 2 years before, I had purchased an uncultivated ranch and had retired for the privacy so essential to prolonged literary effort. Francis Amberville, in 1 fortnight of his visit, through his flair for the pictorial potentialities of landscape, had doubtless grown more familiar with the neighborhood than I. It had been his habit to roam about in the forenoon, armed with sketching materials, and in this way he had already found the theme of more than one lovely painting. The arrangement was mutually convenient, since I, in his absence, was wont to apply myself assiduously to an antique Remington typewriter. I examined the drawings attentively. Both, though of hurried execution, were highly meritorious, and showed the characteristic grace and vigor of Amberville's style. And yet, even at first glance, I found a quality that was more alien to the spirit of his work. The elements of the scene were those he had described. In one picture, the pool was half hidden by a fringe of mace weeds, and the dead willow was leaning across it at a prone, despondent angle, as if mysteriously arrested in its fall towards the stagnant waters. Beyond, the alders seemed to strain away from the pool, exposing their knotted roots as if in eternal effort. In the other drawing, the pool formed the main portion of the foreground, with the skeleton tree looming drearily at one side. At the water's farther end, the cattails seemed to wave and whisper among themselves in a dying wind. and the steeply bowering slope of pine at the meadow's terminus was indicated as a wall of gloomy green that closed in the picture, leaving only a pale of autumnal sky at the top. All this, as the painter had said, was ordinary enough, but I was impressed immediately by a profound horror that lurked in these simple elements and was expressed by them as if by the balefully contorted features of some demoniac face. In both drawings, this sinister character was equally evident, as if the same face had been shown in profile and front view. I could not trace the separate details that composed the impressions, but ever as I looked, the abomination of a strange evil, a spirit of despair, malignity, desolation, leered from the drawing more openly and hatefully. The spot seemed to wear a macabre and satanic grimace. One felt that it might speak aloud, might utter the imprecations of some gigantic devil, or the raucous derision of 1,000 birds of ill omen. The evil conveyed was something wholly outside of humanity, more ancient than man. Somehow, fantastic as this will seem, the meadow had the air of a vampire grown old and hideous with unutterable infamies. Subtly, indefinably, it thirsted for other things than the sluggish trickle of water by which it was fed. "Where is this place?" I asked, after a minute or two of silent inspection. It was incredible that anything of the sort could really exist, and equally incredible that a nature so robust as Amberville should have been sensitive to its quality.